Hello, Wobbly Phil here. Recently, your Super Soaraway 3 Phils brought you a British two-stroke motorcycle that you could legally ride on the roads. Previously, I thought they'd pretty much disappeared from the streets following global environmental crackdowns. Now, thanks to you clever people in the comments, I've discovered you can also buy a road-going stroker down under. I've visited Australia many times. The people are great, and it's one of the few countries in the world where you can get a proper cup of tea. But it's not a country you ordinarily associate with the manufacturing of motorcycles.
Introducing new Holden Ute, van and one-tonner. We'll show you how tough they are.
Holden cars are, on the other hand, legendary, and the company had various factories around Australia until the final curtain fell just a few years ago. But Waratah motorcycles? Anyone? The gentleman at the back with the didgeridoo, perhaps? In case you're wondering, Waratah was, as far as I can see, Australia's only indigenous firm that mass-produced motorbikes. Based in Sydney from around 1910 until the late 1940s, they badge-engineered machines based on British ones, latterly Norman and Excelsior machines, it seems. Apart from some failed start-ups in the early decades of the 20th century, including 3 attempts at getting the Acme Motorcycle Company going, that's your lot. So, when I discovered there's a company based in Brisbane called Salt, which seems to be taking a very similar approach to Langan, my reaction was, naturally,
Truth.
Salt are building 300cc two-stroke singles for the road. This, from what I can gather, is a bit of a stopgap on their way to developing a hydrogen-fueled V8 motorcycle. Still small steps, eh? With a former GP rider, Paul the Angry Ant Lewis, at the helm, Salt should definitely know a thing or two about two-strokes and how to build them for canyon carving. Unlike the Langan, which is based around a 250cc V-twin, courtesy of Italian specialist Vin's Motors, Salt decided to go with a single-cylinder 300cc power plant, courtesy of KTM's 300 EXC. The KTM is primarily an off-roader, but with its small headlight, taillight and speedo is already road legal in Europe, Australia and, I believe, in some US states. At this point, all you pedants out there, and my YouTube stats tell me that 89% of my audience will be scrambling for your keyboards to point out that the KTM is a road-legal two-stroke. So why have I been highlighting the Langan and now the Salt? To which my answer is the KTM is primarily a dirt bike that can be used on the road, not a motorcycle that's specifically built for the road. It's a subtle distinction, but hey, I can make subtle distinctions like that because it's my YouTube channel. So, what do you get for your money? Well, let's start by quantifying just how many spons you'd be splashing out on a Salt. As it turns out, that's not easy to find. There are no prices on the Salt website, so I sent them an email asking for a price range. At the time of making this video, I had yet to receive a response. I did find this article in a magazine for wannabe oligarchs that puts the price at almost 30,000 US dollars, around 22,000 Great British pounds or 45,000 Aussie dollars. About a third of that is for the KTM donor bike, much of which is used to craft the road-going machine. You'll get fully adjustable suspension, a recluse clutch, high compression head, and loads of other goodies on a bike that's claimed to output 52 ponies with a dry weight of just 245 pounds. You can choose from 3 colour schemes: Bumblebee, Original Salty, and in a nod to Australia's former auto industry, Ode to Holden. Before delivery, Paul Lewis himself apparently road tests the bikes and dials in the bike's riding characteristics. Now, all this looks and sounds amazing. I'm all for two-stroke fun, but I'm also a wizened old cynic. I couldn't find much detail about Salt on the internet. Specifics like their exact address, how many folk they employ, sales figures, and so on. And not much news has been coming from them in the past couple of years. Moreover, I could only find this one solitary video about the bike on YouTube from Salt itself. This set off my inbuilt bullshit detector, but I'm pleased to say that the Salt Motorcycles Company is on the Australian government's business register as being currently active, although their entry is due for review at the end of this month. Unlike here in the UK, the Aussies make you pay to see more, like an annual report, sales figures, business address, and so on. And this was where my inner cynic clashed with my inner skinflint. Curiosity got the better of me though, and I coughed up 10 Australian dollars, about £5 or $7 for a download. There wasn't much more to see there, but I did get a business address. Obviously, the Three Phil's budget doesn't stretch to me flying to Australia to sneak a peek, so thank goodness for Google Street View. Curiously, Salt's business address is on the outskirts of Canberra, over 1,000 kilometres from Brisbane, and all I could see on my virtual ferret around was tyre depots and truck repair shops. Oh, and a dirt bike dealership called Eye Candy. So perhaps Salt motorcycles should be taken with a pinch of salt. Meanwhile, the Langan two-stroke was turning heads on the Isle of Man recently, as Lee Johnston's excellent video, which dropped this week, demonstrates. I'll put a link to that and my own video on Langan in the description. And don't forget, all the videos I credit on screen are always linked there. I hope you enjoyed this salty tale. If you did, then please consider liking, subscribing, commenting and sharing to let YouTube know we're doing something right here at Three Phils. Thank you.